sudden shifts in your life aren't random, they're signals, signs that you're part of a rare group walking a path most people never even notice. I am Shiheng Yi, and today I will speak to the 0.1%, the ones who feel something awakening inside them long before the world sees any change outside. This number is not mystical for the sake of mystery. It represents the very small circle of individuals who choose the harder path, the path of discipline, internal training, and clarity. In Shaolin tradition, only a few step forward when silence becomes the teacher and stillness becomes the test. Only a few remain when comfort fades and truth begins to demand real transformation. In this video, you will discover why certain people are being separated, elevated, and prepared in ways that feel unusual, even unsettling. You will learn why your intuition is sharpening, why your inner world feels louder, and why life is pulling you away from everything familiar. These are not coincidences. These are signs of a deeper activation. Together, we will explore how ancient Shaolin teachings reveal the hidden phases of spiritual refinement, the stages that almost no one talks about. You will understand why the world feels different around you, why your energy attracts reactions you never expected, and why you sense a shift that others cannot feel. Stay with me until the end, because each moment of this message will help you connect the pieces, your past discipline, your present challenges, and the powerful direction your future is shaping toward. This journey is unfolding in real time, and your awareness is the key to unlocking it. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. If you feel this message calling to you, subscribe and continue walking this rare path with us. Moments arrive in life when everything becomes strangely quiet, right before it changes in ways you didn't expect. I have seen this pattern countless times, in students, in masters, and in my own path. When life begins to shift without warning, it is rarely chaos. It is often a sign that something within you is preparing to move in a completely new direction. When God moves in a way that feels unfamiliar, most people react with fear. They question the timing, the suddenness, the discomfort. But for the chosen ones, for those who walk a path of inner cultivation, these moments carry meaning. They reveal a deep spiritual truth. Transformation usually begins long before it becomes visible. In Shaolin teachings, we call this wusking, a principle that speaks of movement arising from deep stillness. It is the moment when something that has been quietly forming within you finally begins to take shape. You may not see the full picture yet, but you feel the push, the pull, the disruption. It is unexpected, but it is never without purpose. Think of a lake that appears calm on the surface. Beneath it, currents shift, pressures change, and new pathways open. One day the water moves, not because of the wind, but because something underneath has awakened. This is how divine disruption works. The external shift is simply the final step of a long internal preparation. At times, the path becomes narrow. Relationships drift, opportunities end, routines break, life pauses. These are the subtle markers that an inner doorway is unlocking. And when that doorway opens, life rearranges itself to match the new strength rising within you. So when everything begins to shift at once, do not rush to fix it. Do not cling to what is leaving. Notice the stillness before the movement, and understand that the direction of the shift is guiding you toward a version of yourself you have not yet met. There is a stage on every sacred path where life becomes unusually quiet, not empty, just still. It can feel as if everything has paused, your progress, your momentum, your clarity. This is the space many people misunderstand. They call it stagnation, delay, or even abandonment. But in ancient teachings, this period is known as the valley phase, the silent ground where true mastery begins to take shape. Shaolin monks understand this deeply. Before a warrior develops power in his movements, he first develops strength in his stillness. Before his strikes become precise, his mind must become calm. Nothing on the outside appears to change, yet everything on the inside is being rebuilt, refined, strengthened. In this silent preparation phase, life removes noise, so you can finally hear your own inner voice. You may feel disconnected from old desires, old people, old habits. You may sense yourself withdrawing without knowing why. But this withdrawal is not weakness, it is alignment. The mind settles, the breath deepens, awareness expands, and slowly the unnecessary weight that once limited you begins to dissolve. Every seed spends more time underground than it does above the soil, not because it is failing, but because the foundation must be strong enough to support what will one day grow. The same is true for you. Your unseen discipline, the choices you make when no one is watching, the thoughts you correct, the impulses you calm, these are the roots forming beneath the surface. This phase is quiet because noise would distract you. It is slow because rushing would break you. It is hidden because transformation needs darkness before it rises into light. When nothing seems to move, understand this clearly. Something essential within you is taking shape. The silence is not stopping your progress. It is preparing it. There comes a moment on the path where the real challenge is no longer the world outside, but the world within. This is the inner test, the stage where old identity layers rise to the surface, asking to be seen, understood, and released. For the chosen one, this is not punishment, it is initiation. The past knocks again not to trap you, but to confirm that you no longer belong to who you once were. Hidden attachments often reveal themselves first. The need for approval, the fear of being misunderstood, the instinct to stay small because expansion feels unfamiliar. These patterns do not disappear just because you desire change. They surface one last time so you can consciously choose a different response. This is how evolution unfolds, not suddenly, but intentionally. In Shaolin training, this stage is known as Neigong, the internal work that builds character before capability. It is where a warrior learns to confront his own shadow without running, hiding, or justifying. Neigong teaches that true strength is not in force, but in awareness. When you see your own habits clearly, they lose their power over you. Think of it like shedding an old skin. The process is uncomfortable. The old layer clings, not because it belongs to you, but because it once protected you. Yet protection that comes from the past cannot guide the future. To rise higher, you must release the weight that kept you stable in earlier stages of life. Emotional patterns also surface: anger, doubt, impatience, loneliness. These emotions are not signs of failure. They are signals that a deeper layer is ready to be transformed. The chosen one learns to face them without judgment, breathing through them, observing them until they loosen their grip. When you pass this inner test, something shifts. Not loudly, but unmistakably. You feel lighter, clearer, more aligned with the person you are becoming. This is the quiet victory that precedes every breakthrough. There comes a time when life begins to quietly pull you away from everything you once knew. Not through force, not through conflict, but through an inner tug that becomes impossible to ignore. Friends feel distant, familiar places feel heavy, old routines feel too small for the person you are becoming. This is the moment of separation, a stage every chosen one experiences when divine guidance begins redirecting their path. To the untrained mind, this shift feels unsettling. It may seem as though you are losing your place in the world, but in ancient teachings, this phase is understood very differently. Shaolin masters call it withdrawal into the empty room, a sacred step where you are moved away from noise, distraction, and outdated energies so that your perception can sharpen. The empty room is not a physical space, it is a state of inner solitude. It is where clarity is born not from more information, but from less interference. When life separates you from the familiar, it is because what once supported you can no longer sustain your next level of growth. The old environment reflects who you were, not who you are becoming. Many try to resist this separation. They cling to comfort, relationships, or identities that no longer align with their inner truth. But resistance only prolongs confusion. Acceptance opens the doorway to transformation. In Shaolin discipline, separation is not seen as loss, but refinement, a deliberate clearing that makes room for deeper wisdom. During this stage, your senses heighten, your intuition becomes louder, your spirit becomes more sensitive to what is real and what is draining. You begin to see people and situations with new eyes, not from emotion, but from clarity. This moment of separation is not abandonment. It is preparation. The universe creating space for the next chapter of your evolution. There is a quiet shift that happens when life draws you inward. With fewer voices around you and fewer distractions pulling at your attention, something deep within begins to stir. This is the awakening of awareness, a stage where intuition sharpens in ways you may not have experienced before. It does not happen through effort. It happens through space. Isolation creates a kind of inner silence that reveals what has always been present but rarely heard. Thoughts slow down. Emotions surface more clearly. The noise of the world fades, and the subtler layers of your inner world rise to the front. You begin to notice things you once overlooked. Small impulses, subtle signals, quiet instincts. This is the mind coming back to itself. Mindfulness teaches that true clarity begins with observation. Not controlling thoughts, not fighting them, simply watching them pass, the way a monk watches clouds drift across the sky. When you observe without reacting, your inner landscape becomes transparent. Patterns you could not see before start to reveal themselves. You recognize which feelings come from fear, which from wisdom, which from conditioning. Shaolin practice emphasizes this form of awareness. Before mastering movement, one must master stillness. Before striking with precision, one must perceive with clarity. Awareness is not a gift reserved for the gifted. It is a natural ability awakened through discipline and quiet. As this awareness grows, intuition becomes sharper. You sense when something is right without needing proof. You feel when something is wrong without needing explanation. The mind no longer rushes. The heart no longer trembles. Spiritual discernment deepens because you are now listening from a place of calm rather than chaos. In this awakening, you begin to trust the voice within, the one that does not shout, but whispers with undeniable truth. There are moments when life takes things away before it gives anything back. People drift out of your circle. Habits lose their pull. Opportunities fall through without warning. At first, this can feel confusing or even unfair. But when viewed through a deeper lens, this is the divine reset. A clearing that happens not to punish you, but to protect you. Often, what blocks your path is not something dramatic. It can be a familiar routine that keeps you small, a relationship that drains your spirit, a belief that limits your potential. These attachments become so woven into your daily life that you barely notice their weight. So when they suddenly fall away, the loss feels heavy, but the truth behind it is liberating. In ancient Shaolin wisdom, a student cannot learn new techniques while still gripping old ones. The hands must be empty before receiving new weapons. The same applies to the spiritual journey. When God removes something from your life, it is usually because your next chapter requires a different level of strength, clarity, or direction, one that the old attachments cannot support. This reset often arrives quietly. A plan collapses, a connection fades, a desire dies out. These endings are not signs of failure, they are signs of preparation. The space they create is intentional. It opens room for growth you could not see while occupied with what was familiar. During this phase, the mind may resist. It tries to hold on to the old because the new is still unseen. But with discipline and awareness, you begin to recognize the hidden wisdom in these shifts. You see that what left your life did so because it no longer matched the person you are becoming. In the emptiness that follows, something powerful begins to gather. A readiness for the blessings, opportunities, and truths your future is calling forth. There is a moment when stillness no longer feels empty, when quiet practice transforms into a force that moves through every part of you. This is the surge of inner power, a stage where discipline, breathwork, and unwavering presence combine to awaken strength that is both subtle and unstoppable. It is not the strength of muscle or noise, but the power of intention aligned with the soul. Shaolin masters have long taught that true power begins inward. Each breath carries more than oxygen, it carries awareness. Each controlled movement carries more than energy, it carries purpose. When repeated with patience, the body and mind align, forming a foundation that cannot be shaken by external chaos. The warrior who has trained in stillness can move mountains with calm precision. This is also the principle of Yi Dao, when intention becomes a guiding force. Every choice, every motion, every thought is directed by clarity rather than impulse. The mind and heart no longer argue, they converge. In this state, obstacles that once seemed insurmountable appear manageable, not because the world has changed, but because the practitioner has shifted. Inner mastery reshapes perception, revealing that limitations were never external, they were simply unrefined potential. The surge of inner power does not arrive suddenly. It is the result of countless quiet hours, observing the breath, cultivating patience, letting thoughts pass without attachment. It is forged in moments when no one is watching, in the spaces where discipline meets surrender. These moments accumulate until they reach critical mass, and the energy within can no longer be contained. When this force awakens, it carries with it calm confidence. It does not boast, it does not demand recognition, it simply acts with precision, discernment, and alignment. The power of Yi Dao flows naturally, guiding the chosen one toward choices and actions that honor the deepest truth within. There are days when the world feels slightly out of place. Familiar streets seem quieter, familiar faces feel distant, and ordinary events carry a strange weight. These are the unusual signs, subtle markers that a rare spiritual upgrade is unfolding. Life itself begins to feel unfamiliar, not as a threat, but as a signal that your inner evolution is reaching a new threshold. In mindfulness, this stage is called the threshold moment. It is a space where old timelines collapse quietly and new ones begin to take shape. The past no longer fits the present. Patterns that once guided you now feel restrictive. The routines, habits, and relationships that once seemed steady may now seem misaligned. This is not loss, it is recalibration. Shaolin teachings speak of this in terms of perspective and presence. The outer world mirrors the inner. When clarity expands within, the external environment shifts accordingly. What feels unfamiliar is simply a reflection of an internal adjustment, your consciousness stretching into a higher capacity. The mind may feel unsettled at first, noticing inconsistencies that were invisible before, but this is part of the process. The chosen one learns to observe these signs without resistance. Each feeling of dissonance becomes an opportunity to practice stillness. Each moment of uncertainty becomes a chance to refine awareness. By watching without reacting, the mind begins to settle and the body adjusts naturally to the new rhythm of life. During this stage, intuition becomes a clearer guide. Decisions that once required analysis now arrive as quiet knowing. Energy aligns with purpose, doors that seemed closed begin to open, and paths that were hidden become visible. This unfamiliarity is not accidental. It is a carefully orchestrated part of the journey, marking the moment when the old self releases its hold and the next version of awareness begins to emerge. Life feels different because you are becoming different, quieter, sharper, and more attuned to what truly matters. After the trials, the separations, and the long periods of silent preparation, a shift becomes unmistakable. The chosen one begins to move differently through the world, calmer, steadier, and more deliberate. There is a sense of alignment, as if every choice, every step, and every thought flows from a deeper current. This is the moment of stepping into the new path, when the inner work manifests outwardly in subtle yet powerful ways. In Shaolin philosophy, this stage is known as xinming, the unity of the heart and destiny. It is the point where internal clarity meets purpose, where discipline, awareness, and intention converge into a natural harmony. The heart no longer pulls one way while the mind pulls another. Instead, the inner and outer worlds move together in seamless rhythm, guided by a quiet certainty rather than desire or fear. This path is not forged overnight. It is the result of countless hours of observing the self, of confronting fears, of letting go of what no longer serves. The chosen one emerges lighter, not because challenges disappeared, but because they have been integrated and transcended. Strength is no longer aggressive or reactive. It is precise, measured, and deeply rooted in understanding. Along this new path, life presents itself with clarity. Decisions arise naturally, opportunities appear aligned with purpose, and relationships that resonate with this new frequency take form. The old noise fades, leaving only what is essential. There is a quiet joy in moving through life with this alignment, a joy born from mastery, not external reward. To step into the new path is to live intentionally, fully aware of the forces shaping your journey. It is to act with both courage and wisdom, knowing that every movement, no matter how small, is guided by a deeper current. The chosen one walks forward, not hurried, not uncertain, but in harmony with the destiny that has quietly awaited their arrival. This rare movement in life may feel unsettling at first, but it is never chaos. It is preparation, a deliberate unfolding designed to align the chosen one with truth, purpose, and mastery. Every period of stillness, every moment of discipline, every breath spent in awareness builds a foundation that cannot be seen at first, yet shapes everything that follows. Through patience and reflection, the quiet work inside begins to radiate outward. The challenges, separations, and shifts you experience are not obstacles, but the shaping forces of your growth. Shaolin wisdom reminds us that transformation happens slowly, deliberately, and often unseen. Yet when it manifests, its impact is undeniable. Take these lessons into your daily life. Embrace stillness. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Release what no longer serves you. Let your inner awareness guide your actions. In doing so, you step closer to alignment with your higher path, moving with clarity, purpose, and calm strength. The journey is quiet, but every choice you make today shapes the extraordinary life you are preparing to live. Allow patience, discipline, and inner mastery to guide you forward, and trust the process unfolding within you. If this message resonates, join us on this path of growth and awareness. Like this video, subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire, and continue walking this journey of inner transformation with us, one mindful step at a time.